Is it unspiritual to judge people? A talk with Unmani.
Is it unspiritual to judge people? Well, usually on the spiritual path, as we're trying to become more spiritual people, we are trying to get rid of qualities that we think are unspiritual, which is a very understandable thing to do. Like, you have a certain image of the kind of spiritual person that you think that you should be, or that you long for even, because the idea is that when I get there, to whatever you imagine there would be like, then I would be happy, I would be free, I would feel a sense of coming home, living from my heart, or feel awakened, enlightened, whatever concept you hold in your mind. And the mind actually tries to help you to get there, which is very kind of it. And so you might hear that judgment is not good, because you can feel actually in your own experience, even if you think that it might not be good, but you can feel also in your experience that when you judge someone, or when someone judges you, which obviously can be even more painful, when you feel judged by someone, you can feel that it's painful, right? That somehow you're being put in a box, and that it feels very limiting, and that you feel perhaps that you're not being seen truly for who you are. And so, yeah, of course, this is heartbreaking and painful, because we all long to really feel like we're being seen and met just the way that we are. And when we are judging others, it also feels painful. We can feel that there's a disconnect, that that we are creating this sense of separation, as if the other is outside of me, and then there's perhaps a power dynamic going on there, where you perhaps think that you are better than, and then they are worse or less than you. And this, whenever we are playing or feeding this play of separation, it feels painful, and it feels disconnected from the truth of who you are. So, saying all of that, I now want to say actually the opposite almost, that when we when we recognize that our thoughts are not the truth, when we recognize that the thoughts are simply a running commentary on this play of experience, when we recognize that the thoughts are just a tool for surviving in the world, but actually don't hold any ultimate answers, or cannot control life, because they are a tool or a phenomena arising in life. So when we realize this deeply, not just intellectually, then actually it frees us up to think. It frees the thinking to just do its job of thinking. It doesn't need to try to become a better person or a more spiritual person. It doesn't need to try to control life or do life or become enlightened or awakened or perfect in any way, because we recognize that it is always going to be limited. It is a tool. It is actually a lot of the time just this blah, blah, blah. It is just something that runs a lot of the time. And when we don't give it so much energy, then it doesn't disturb anyone. Basically, when you recognize that who you have believed yourself to be is just simply a thought. And so when you are seeing through thoughts in general, you see through this one as well, this thought of me. And if you see that you are not that me, then the thoughts about me are not referring to anyone. And therefore, thoughts that are trying to become a better me are not referring to anyone, and also don't have the power to become anything, because they are this running blah, 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 right? Telling nice stories, imagining this or that, or remembering. Of course, thought has amazing qualities. And one of the qualities is to judge people. And it does it very well. As soon as someone comes in the room, your thoughts naturally will check them out, right? The way they look, even the feel that you get from a person, thought will then come with a label. And naturally also thought will check out, is this person better than me? Am I more powerful, more intelligent, more beautiful? And it's playing this game because it's it is a tool for survival. And this is a very animal thing to do, right? When you meet another animal, you immediately, in the animal kingdom, right? They check each other out, whether it's through sniffing each other's bums or whether it's just a look or a growl or whatever. And this is our animal way of checking. Is who can survive this? And so it's a very natural program. So if we see it like this, and we see that these are just thoughts, they don't actually mean anything about you or the other. And you're no doubt thinking judgmental thoughts. So when you express it to a friend or someone like that, it doesn't mean anything unless you make it mean something. So if you really believe that the judgment that you are making fixes someone in a box, so you're making a final judgment that that's it, you no longer see them because you see them only through that judgment, then this is very painful. And this is feeding this play of separation. But if you take thoughts and, in fact, who you are very lightly and non-seriously, right? And you can see that you are not your thoughts, then you're free actually to judge people because you know that these judgments never mean anything. They never really box anyone in any way. The judgment is simply a commentary of the mind, and it's freely doing it. So you may as well admit that it's doing it. It's actually very freeing to admit, yeah, there is judgment happening. I don't need to try to be more spiritual by suppressing the judgment. Actually, when I just acknowledge it and admit it, it's free to be here, but at the same time, it doesn't mean anything. So whatever judgment I might have of somebody, I hold it very lightly. So it's only appearing right now. It's a judgment, a thought arising presently, and in the next moment, it's gone. right? So there's never anything held over somebody permanently. There's never a judging someone as being that forever. Because also, when you recognize that you are life itself, right? You are the awareness of it all, you know that everybody is that. Right? So it's not possible that anybody could be one judgment, one image, one concept. Yeah. You can just see that this is just a very human animal thing that happens. And when we acknowledge these kinds of human things, it frees us up to be human. And this is so freeing, to stop trying to be spiritual, because in your humanity and beyond your humanity, simultaneously, you are spiritual always. You can't try to become spiritual because you are already that. So then it's okay to judge. Of course, you can feel the pain of it at the same time. You know, as soon as you are starting to believe it or make it feel like it's more heavy in some way, you can feel when it crosses a line into, okay, now this is now feeding this play of separation, and this feels painful. Yeah. And it's the same when someone is judging you, you feel judged. If you don't take your own thoughts seriously, then why should you take other people's thoughts seriously? Even if they are taking their thoughts seriously, you are free to not take your thoughts seriously. And so you are judged in that moment. But who is judged? Who are you? You're not the one that they are judging. You are aware of the judgment, or you're aware of the physical response because it can feel painful. You're aware of that and you feel it. Of course, it's okay to feel it, but you are not the one who is judged. So it's about always meeting yourself in whatever is here, knowing that it doesn't mean anything about you. And yet simultaneously, it's here to be felt, whatever is here. It's here to be acknowledged. Yeah, so if there's judgment here, it's here to be acknowledged. Yes, you're human. You're a human mess. You're imperfect. And it's really freeing to acknowledge that.